right now we're in this very ideal situation. We'll remember this time period fondly. We'll look back at this. Bitcoin trading at 26,000. We all know what's about to happen. We all know corporations are going to adopt it. Wall Street's going to adopt it. We know the ETFs are coming. We know the capital is coming. We know everyone's going to wake up and figure this out, but they don't have the ability to buy it yet. So you know the future, but it has not manifested itself in the price. You're going to wish, for these days back.
The cryptocurrency market is currently undergoing a downturn, and we're on the verge of potential chaos caused by FTX's liquidators. However, MicroStrategy's co-founder Michael Saylor believes there are 3 factors that could soon drive Bitcoin prices significantly higher. After multiple weeks of the coin hovering under the $26,000 mark, the king of all cryptos finally made its investors happy as it breached that level. According to CoinMarketCap, Bitcoin was up by more than 3% in the last 7 days. At press time, it was trading at $27,150 with a market capitalization of over $521 billion. Things might get even better soon, though. Saylor outlines 3 conditions: the launch of spot Bitcoin ETFs, banks offering Bitcoin-based financial services, and official regulation in the U.S. 2 conditions are almost met. The first, spot Bitcoin ETFs, may launch this fall, and the FASB is working on a new crypto accounting standard. Bloomberg Tax reported a recent change to the way Bitcoin is treated with respect to accounting rules. In the past, Bitcoin had been treated as an intangible asset which forced companies to capture losses but prevented marking gains to market as the price recovered. The new rules proposed provide for fair value assessments, allowing companies to mark their holdings to market, which allows for capturing gains in price. Big banks are starting to demonstrate interest by jumping into the custody game. CoinDesk reported last week that Deutsche Bank has partnered with fintech platform Taurus to provide custody for Bitcoin and crypto assets. Now, we'd like to share a few clips from the interview with you.
And when everybody else embraces these big 3 ideas, when the banks custody Bitcoin, when the spot ETF is here, when companies are using Bitcoin on their treasury, then that opportunity is lost to you. Instead of buying Bitcoin at 25,000, you're buying Bitcoin at $1 million. And here's the way you should think of it. You're taking a 40x pay cut. You see, whatever you're making right now is going to be worth 40x less. So take what you're making right now, multiply by 40. That's what you get paid, right, in fiat, in order to use Bitcoin as a treasury asset and keep one foot in the fiat world, because you understand the future. But the rest of the world, 99% of the world, hasn't caught up with you. And I guess what I'm saying is, I think they all know. Right? I mean, a lot of them know. Some of them don't, but a lot of them know. But I sat with a guy's got $1 trillion in capital under management, and he couldn't buy the Bitcoin even if he wanted to. He couldn't, because he doesn't have the accounting systems, the on-ramps, the regulatory wrapper. So there are people out there that have more money than you that may actually perceive the same thing you perceive. They can't buy it yet. You should count yourself lucky if you actually have the ability to acquire it right now, right? Because you jumped through the hoops, you got KYC'd on a crypto exchange, because you've got a relationship, right? You have an advantage. The advantage is for a window of time. It will actually never be this good again, in my opinion. So when FASB adopted fair value accounting, they actually put Bitcoin pari passu with treasury bonds. What that means is Bitcoin is the first financial asset that's an asset without an issuer, that's fungible, that's liquid, that could be held on a treasury, comparable to sovereign debt. But the difference is, sovereign debt is going to have a negative real yield of 4% a year. And Bitcoin is going to appreciate, even in the long term, after all this near-term adoption and the bull markets run out. If you roll the clock forward a decade, 2 decades, you can expect that over the long term, over a century, if the S&P index appreciates 7% a year, because the money supply is expanding 7% a year. Bitcoin should appreciate 14% a year.
Grayscale's recent victory over the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, coupled with the ongoing discussion of a spot Bitcoin ETF by BlackRock, has prompted a notable shift in market sentiment within the cryptocurrency space. Recently, Japan's largest investment bank, Nomura's digital asset subsidiary Laser Digital Asset Management, has launched a Bitcoin adoption fund for institutional investors. The official announcement noted that the Bitcoin-based fund will be the first in a range of digital adoption investment solutions that the firm plans to introduce. Saylor mentioned that if Bitcoin's growth trajectory continues, where it could reach 10-30% of global wealth, Wall Street's adoption is certain. Now let's take a look on a few clips from interview.
I think that from the years 2020 to 2024, that was the great transition of Bitcoin from being a retail asset in the crypto ecosystem, offshore, unregulated, poorly understood, the Wild West. And by the end of 2024, it will have emerged as an institutional asset in the mainstream financial ecosystems on Wall Street. Bitcoin's coming to Wall Street. And this is, it's like, I guess like college, you know, you started as a child and then you left home, and freshman year is very scary. And you've got 4 years of adjustment, and you you encounter people that are better educated than you or smarter than you, that come from parts of the world you've never been to, maybe that have more power than you. And initially it's a bit scary, but by the end of your college education, you're ready to go out in the world and compete with everybody else. And I think that coming out of 2024, Bitcoin is emerging as an institutional grade asset, and it's not going to be competing with the Bitcoin forks or other proof of work coins, or, you know, Sam Bankman-Fried's favorite yo-yo token, but it's, or, you know, apes or cats or, you know, crazy crypto things. It won't be thought of as that. It's going to be competing against owning a block of real estate in London, or owning New York, or owning a ton of gold, or owning a building, or perhaps owning $1 billion of the S&P index, or owning 1 million shares of Apple stock. And so definitely nobody thought that in 2019 or 2020. But if Bitcoin's going to grow up, right, Bitcoin's on a path to go from nothing to 500 billion to 10 trillion to 100 trillion dollars to 200 trillion. At some point, it should be 10, 20, 30% of all of the wealth in the world. If it's going to grow up like that, then it's inevitable that it had to be embraced and was going to be embraced by Wall Street. So if we consider the significance of BlackRock and the ETF, well, first of all, the real important point is there's broad-based consensus now that Bitcoin is an asset class. And that's a major revolution. If Fidelity and BlackRock and if 10 other ETF issuers all agree that Bitcoin is an asset class, right, it should be 10x to 100x bigger than it is right now. There's also broad-based agreement that sometime in the next year, a spot ETF will be approved. And that's also significant. I think the third significance is this is not BlackRock taking over Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin, you know, being embraced by BlackRock, right? This is Bitcoin being embraced by Wall Street. Now, nobody on Wall Street, none of these ETFs, none of these leaders of these money managers have said, we just heard about Bitcoin, we're here to fix it. What they've said is, we heard about Bitcoin, it seems like everybody in the world wants it. And since we offer people gold and bonds and equity and other forms of investment options, we have a vacuum and we are lacking, and we won't be complete until we're offering a Bitcoin product.
Recent market movements and expert opinions suggest that Bitcoin's price fluctuations may have something more than meets the eye. As Bitcoin's price hovers around critical levels, a leading crypto analyst suggests that global giant BlackRock could be a game changer. In an unexpected surge, Bitcoin has been pumping hard in recent hours, smoothly breaking through key resistance levels and setting its sights on the $28,000 milestone. This impressive upswing comes following a $1 billion increase in open interest across multiple cryptocurrency exchanges. This wraps up our discussion for today. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you found this information valuable, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel to stay informed with the latest news and videos. Thanks for joining us.